You're listening to the Second Mass Report, the Falling Skies podcast, a very special edition this time. Glad to be with you once again. I'm Frank Stella, along with Rob Southgate. How excited are you, Rob?
I am so excited I can hardly stand it. Watch me fawn through this.
Fawning Skies, maybe.
Oh, terrible.
Hey, let's get this show rolling because we have actor Doug Jones with us who plays Cochise. Doug, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing today?
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Well, I'm happy today, but if you can hear it in my voice, I'm a little raspy. I've had a cold the last couple days.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for coming on in spite of that.
It is my pleasure. Well, I'm sitting at home with my iPod here on talking to you guys. So, of all days too, today was the day that I recorded my little video for that ALS Lou Gehrig's challenge.
Oh, you did the ice bucket.
Yeah, right. Was that the wrong day when you have a cold? But but I've been getting challenged by dozens and dozens of people. Some I know, some I don't. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a video and put an end to this nonsense.
It's kind of funny because all the videos I've seen, I'm like, you guys are all wimps. Do this in the winter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I actually did mine on the deck, but I'm going to reveal something. I cheated. I was too afraid to. I hate cold water. I was too afraid to do it that cold. So I put lukewarm water, but then I let my daughter fill it with ice. So when she dumped it on me, it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Cheater. I can't help it. I have to reveal it. I got to be honest.
Right. Then that's better than you being treated for hypothermia.
Exactly.
All those poor people with ALS.
Yeah. Well, Doug, we want to talk about Falling Skies primarily, and I want to ask you about your first, impression of Falling Skies. When you first heard about it, were you a fan of it before you got on the show, or had you just first heard of it when your agent or manager comes to you and says, "Hey, you might have a possibility on this show"? Like, how did that all work?
I kind of came about to the show differently than everybody else did. Yes, I was a fan of the show already, and I had met Colin Fergus, or not Colin Cunningham.
Awesome.
He and I have mutual friends, and I'd also met him on the convention circuit. And he's such a sweetheart of a guy, and a great magician too. You wouldn't know.
Oh,
but,
really?
No, an amazing magician. Like he makes things fly in the air that are hovering on. Oh, and you're like, where's the wire? I know he's amazing. So anyway, but so I knew about the show anyway. I'd been following it, loved it, and I love Noah Wiley. I've always been a fan of his. And Creature Effects makeup artist Todd Masters, who owns Masters Effects, they do all of the skitters and the practical Ishveni, and they were creating this new alien named Cochise. And they'd already shot the end of season 2, where the CG version of Cochise steps out of a ship and ta-da! Roll credits.
Right. Big cliffhanger.
Right. So when the show got renewed for season 3, it's like, ooh, now we got to get somebody in that role, I guess. So the casting calls went out, mostly in Vancouver. They were hoping to save a buck and hire someone locally up there where the show is filmed. Todd Masters, who was creating the design of the practical makeup that would go on that actor, was telling the producers, you know who you really need for this, and I owe Todd a lot for this. It's so sweet of him. He was telling everyone that I would be the perfect fit for this role. And once they started listening to him, he sent me a message on Facebook. This is why I demand every actor has to be in the social medias. You have to be. So Todd Masters, who I'd worked with many years ago on the Mac Tonight commercials, if you remember those Crescent Moon head commercials for McDonald's.
I was actually going to bring that up because I was looking through your filmography, and when I hit that one, I went, I got to ask him. So you were Mac Tonight.
I was indeed. And that's
fantastic.
One of my early gigs, yeah. I was the guy who wore that crescent moon with sunglasses on it and sang, when the clock strikes, hey, 6:30, babe. And, so Todd had worked with Steve Neal on a couple of the spots. I did 27 commercials over a 3-year period and met a lot of Creature Effects makeup people in that time who would come and do a commercial with us and then go back to whatever shop we borrowed them from. Todd was one of those, young makeup artists at the time who we borrowed once, and so now that he's got his own Creature Effects empire going with Masters Effects, he gets back in touch with me on Facebook and said, "Hey, Doug, it's Todd, your old buddy from way back. Hey, have you heard of a show called Falling Skies? We got a new alien, and we'd love to talk to you about it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I've heard of it. I love the show. What's the
cool.
So that's when I went to his shop here in LA. and saw the drawings, the designs, the artwork, and was like, oh, he's beautiful, and it was just kind of a no brainer. The everyone up in the production at DreamWorks Television and TNT were on board with having me. So the negotiations started, and I'm on the show now. So that's kind of how it came about, which is a different kind of casting sort of story.
Wow, very
Yeah,
cool.
but you know what? Social media played a big role in that, and you're right. Everybody that's in the entertainment industry really needs to understand social media and be on it, because look at what happened.
Right,
It's the information age. You know, you have to be.
It's true. It's true. And I also, Twitter has been very instrumental in connecting me with some people who've turned into jobs over the years. And every portal you're accessible in is that many more people can get a hold of you. Now, you also have to sift through an awful lot of, hey, you don't know me, but
Right.
can you donate 3 hours of your time to giving me advice and maybe do you have the 1-800-GET-FAMOUS number I could call? And so you have a lot of that coming through. So you just have to know which ones to pay attention to.
Now, to our credit, we were just tweeting out there, because I'm so embarrassed now that you said that. We were just tweeting out there about how much we enjoy Cochise, and you actually favorited us.
Yeah.
That's what made us go, hey, what are the odds? I mean, we're thinking it's going to be like, can we get like 1 minute of your time, sir? And you were so gracious. I mean, what a great thing. And I found that with all of our shows. We have 40 shows on this network. And everyone keeps telling me they reach out, they get an actor on Twitter that's responding back and forth, and the next thing you know, they're sitting on the phone with them.
There you go. So see, Twitter.
Really cool.
We're here today because of Twitter. See, case in point.
That's right.
Very cool. Doug, hey, I wanted to ask you about the voice. How much of that is your own voice, and how much of it is processed? Because I mean, there's obviously some processing going on, but I wonder if you could just give us kind of like a dry Cochise read so we can hear the Cochise voice without the editing.
Well, again, my voice is not up to snuff today.
Oh.
But what you're hearing is absolutely my voice that has been tweaked in post-production. So no other actors are involved. Thank heaven. And that's Dougie doesn't do that no more. Okay.
You're not doing any lip syncing.
No. I've never done lip syncing. That's usually, but it is unfortunate when you watch a movie and you see that you have been dubbed over by someone more famous than you. There's nothing happy about that moment for an actor.
Morgan Freeman's voice.
Morgan Freeman is Cochise. Yeah, that would not be a happy moment for you.
Yeah. So when I'm on set, I'm on camera with everybody else, just like any other actor in the show, in a full makeup. It does take a village to make Cochise happen in the final product, though. So that includes visually and audio. So when I'm on set, though, I'm wearing fake alien dentures. So I have teeth that are slid over my own. And I'm also wearing that foam latex rubber mask over my face. It's glued on to me. I'm wearing it all day, during lunchtime and everything. So so my nose is kind of plugged up a little bit, and my teeth make my S's kind of slurry. So it's an audio nightmare.
I was going to say, it's not the perfect voice for the character at that point, right?
No. So in post-production, when all the actors are brought in to do some ADR voice looping to fix a line here and there, or they might have had an airplane go by in a shot and they have to get a clean run of that piece of dialogue, or they might have done a script revision and they want to change the line slightly, so by a word or two, so they have the actors come in to fix that dialogue. During that time, that process, in the aftermonths of after we're done filming, I have to come in multiple days to do every syllable of every word I ever spoke in that season. So because we just go over every line of mine has to be redone again because of the sound, the quality on set for me. So it's not the audio department's fault. It's simply there's no way around it.
That's reality of the makeup and everything.
Right. So I go into ADR voice looping sessions. I have a microphone right up to my clean mouth with no dentures in it, and my nose is exposed, so I can give you the everything will be fine, my friend. In this, you must have faith. I'll give you that on a microphone, and then what the sound department does is they'll lower it and add and they add an echo effect to it slightly to make it sound a little more alien, a little more otherworldly. Mm-hmm. And process. And then the visual process, while I'm on this little horse riding through here, the visual, my mask that's glued onto me by Masters Effects. Has two eyes in it that just stay open all day. Right? They're just like, when you look at me, there's two beautiful golden eyes just staring at you.
Creepy.
Right. So the upper part of the face does not respond to my eyebrows, or I can't. Those eyes are wide set, and my real eyes are looking through the vents and the wrinkles that are around Cochise's nose in the mask. So those eyes don't respond. I can't make them respond to anything I do. And then the bottom half of my face is glued on. So so when I talk, you will see I manipulate and move the bottom half of my face, but the mask is just thick enough that it doesn't respond to every single jot and tittle that my facial muscles are trying to do. So in post-production, Masters Effects also has a digital department. So they do their own VFX, After Effects, which is great. I'm so happy that it's all under one roof, because when that's farmed out to another visual effects digital company, they often want to put their own spin on a character or whatever. So here, it's all under Masters Effects roof, so each department respects each other. And they so respect the original design of the makeup, and they also are very on board with my performance, and they listen, they follow along with my intention. Even a simple nod of a head will give them an indication of what my face might be doing in that moment. So they're very, very good about tracking with me as an actor and with my performance to give the eyes life and movement and blinking and eyebrow movement that will express an emotion. Even though Cochise is kind of short on emotions, but when I do have them, the visual effects guys are there to subtly indicate them according to that performance. And then they also enhance my mouth a little bit because I said the thickness of the mask inhibits the shaping of words sometimes. So they'll go in and help those words get shaped and give my cheeks and that all that bit around the nose, where all those facial muscles are. They'll give that some life as well, that I can't do from inside the mask.
And it's interesting that you mentioned being kind of short on emotions, but every now and then we see a glimpse of, I think, what you called with Will Wheaton last year, Volmanity. And I noticed in the last episode that aired, you looked like you were swearing in your Cochise native language, and I was wondering, like, how do you swear in Volm? Like, did you just say some gibberish, or did they actually write out a line for you, or what was that?
No, they did write that out. Normally, now you'll see some more Volm language coming later in another.
Spoiler.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. Well, and the only time that Volm language is really used is when we're talking to each other. So that's going to give you there's your teaser with what's coming in the next couple of nights. But because there's no need to use Volm language with the humans unless we're cussing, we don't want to use the human F word. So,
right.
So that's kind of what Cochise was trying to gentlemanly do. Was after looking at the moon and finding, oh my gosh, I think we found the power source that we've been looking for how long? What, 2 years now here on Earth? Are you kidding me? It's like, it's been right over our heads this entire time, and I'm supposed to be the smart guy that's teaching these humans how to think?
Right.
That was such a great moment to play. Like, I felt Cochise's the poor fella. I felt all of the frustration he might feel trying to, guide these humans along and be the super intellect. And there it was hanging over our heads this entire time. So, of course, that brought on, I forget the first part of that line, but it ended with Fushmak. So for the rest of that week, everybody in the cast, if they stubbed their toe, if they forgot a line, they dropped the glass, it was all Fushmak.
It's the Volm F word.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So now, are you going to translate the Shakespeare into Volm? Because they do that with the Vulcans and that. So.
Oh yeah.
And he uses the Vushmak word a lot in there, doesn't he?
Who, Shakespeare?
Yeah, Shakespeare. Come on.
Yes, I think he was known for his naughty expletives more than anything.
Right.
We'll have that in season 5 then.
Exactly. When they tie it all up, yeah, I'll cuss. When I finally have my heart to heart with my dad, was Chak Chaab, we're gonna maybe there's gonna be some cussing involved. I don't know.
Oh, something to look forward to.
Yes.
Sure. And here's a question about languages, because, and this is something I'm not sure if you can answer, but if I were having a sit down with Cochise himself, I would ask, how did you learn English, and how long did, because it seemed like you landed on Earth and suddenly you were fluent in English. Like, what was the process there? Is that something maybe you've thought about?
Yeah, there's been a couple of theories on that. One is that between the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3, I think something like 5 or 7 months had passed.
Mm-hmm.
Being that the Volm are superior intellects. I mean, look how big my head is, for crying out loud. There's probably a good chance that I could have picked up English if I just like gone through some kind of a chip that we had on the ship and gone, and I could have learned English very fast.
Like in the Matrix.
That's one theory, with all of the proper grammar and everything, because the writers write me with such sentence structure that is so incredibly not trippy off the tonguey.
Right.
It's rather complicated dialogue. So he is a super intellect. That's one thing. The other thing that you don't see in season 4 that's airing now, but in season 3 last year, my outfit was different. I was wearing my rubberized, Volm spacesuit.
Mm-hmm.
With all of my muscles built into it. And around my neck hung that toilet seat with the blue lights on it, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. Well, there was a theory for a minute there that maybe the toilet seat was doing the translating for me. But it's gone now. Now I'm wearing the hooded, don't look at me, I'm hiding in the woods with with my recon team look. So now it's like, maybe I learned the language. I think I learned. Yeah, no, I learned it myself. I did.
Very cool.
I'm going with that.
Yeah.
I think that toilet seat was used for something else.
Right.
For what?
That we don't talk about on a podcast.
That's right. Let's keep it clean, Frank. Come on.
Right.
Let's not have any potty mouth.
Oh, that was terrible.
Oh, you see how he pulled that one together?
Hey, Doug Jones appreciates my puns.
I do.
Somebody does.
Somebody does. So I want to talk about some things off of the show for a second.
Yeah.
One thing that stood out to me, I was looking through your biography on what is it, Ultimate Doug Jones or something like that.
It's thedougjonsexperience.com.
That's why I don't do
right,
this part
Rob.
of the show, because I get it
right.
I get our website wrong. So
I kind of like Ultimate Doug Jones. That sounds like I'm a fighting champion of some sort.
Ultimate Doug Jones. We're going to put you in Andy Serkis because he's the other guy that kind of does the character acting.
Sure.
We're going to put you guys in a cage match. We'll see who wins. I think it's going to be you because you're more
Cochise
physical.
versus Gollum.
Oh, I know who wins.
I finally met Andy a couple of years ago at Comic-Con after we'd been talked about to each other for over 10 years. And the man is solid muscle. He's small, but he's a rock hard, athletic man. I think he could totally take me down.
Little wiry guy, huh?
Yes.
So then it'll be the ultimate fight. Is it the big, tall, lanky guy or the little wiry guy? Who
depends on who has the Volmtech. Volmtech versus the Ring.
Whoa, that's right. Volmtech, yeah. Well, or I could just wrap around him enough times like a python and squeeze him out, right?
I'll tell you who wins. We start going character to character, and you're the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Done.
No, right, exactly. The Silver Surfer, I think, kind of trumps any character anybody's played because I've got the power cosmic, okay? So
that's right. Done.
Don't be messing with the Silver Surfer, okay?
So, okay, you went to Ball State. You're from Indiana, correct?
I am, indeed.
And you live out in California now, but you do come back to Indiana. What do you go back to, like, where you grew up? Are you in that area when you come back?
Yeah, well, no, am I talking to you guys in Indiana right now?
We're actually outside of Chicago.
Oh, okay, there you go. Right, yeah, not too far. Yes, I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I get back there a couple times a year. I still have one brother that lives in the city there. I have another brother that lives in Chicago, in Gurnee, actually. Another brother who lives in Missouri.
Oh, wow.
So, my mom was still living in Indianapolis until she passed away a year ago. 84 years old, long, happy life, all was well. So I'm back and forth. I still have a lot of my, it's my stomping ground. I still consider it home, really, even though I pay taxes in California.
Oh, great, because they're so cheap in California.
Right. Well, it's a much better deal here. Are you kidding me?
Frank got the good pun in. I get the good joke in. Come on. Yeah, I actually, I at one point, my wife and I had moved up to Minneapolis from Chicago, and we were there 5 years. And what I always said is there's a point where you become from that place, and if you don't, then where you were before is still home. So I understand that. Indiana is home.
Well, yeah, in Los Angeles especially is a very transient town. People come and go here from here all the time. A lot of dream seekers come out here, like I did in 1985 when I moved here myself. And so it can feel temporary, like a college campus. You know, everyone's here for a purpose, and if they reach that purpose, they graduate and go somewhere else, or they
Right.
stay and flourish. And so you know, I own real estate now, and so I guess I'm here to stay. But I never really totally clicked with the Hollywood lifestyle. I'm not a city boy so much. Yeah, you know, I grew up in Indianapolis. It was the suburbs, and so Mrs. Lori and I live in the suburbs of LA. We're in a couple valleys away from the city. And I like making that drive over hill and dale to get home because I feel like, oh, good, I can breathe again.
Right. You're getting away from it. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Now,
So when I come home to Indiana, it just oh gosh, driving up north, especially. I spent some time in North Manchester, Indiana, right after I graduated. So I worked at a newspaper there. Driving through soybean fields and cornfields is like, nah, my peeps, my home. And when I get back to Ball State University too, my alma mater. I actually was back there last fall. The theater and dance department awarded me with an outstanding alumni award at some department dinner they had last year. So I flew in to do an acceptance speech and hold a plaque in front of people and take pictures. It was really such a huge honor for me.
Very
When
nice.
I'm at that stage now where I'm being 54 years old and having been in showbiz for 28 years. It's um, things like this are happening now, which I never thought I would get to a place where people would be recognizing my body of work, let alone my body, right?
right.
So, so when this happened, but something about the folks back home inviting you back to do that
Oh
is
yeah.
it is has a specialty that I can't even explain it. That was almost better than holding an Oscar, you know.
That's fantastic. Well, and you also, I was reading that you did a movie, My Name is Jerry,
I did.
that was other Ball State alums that made this, and you kind of credited it as your big thing. And I just feel terrible. I'm a big indie film guy. I haven't seen it.
Well,
So
here's your
I am going to seek this out. Now
okay.
you're Jerry in it, correct?
I am. I play Jerry in My Name is Jerry. It was written for me by a Ball State alum, Morgan Mead, and then rewritten. Our script doctor who came in and did the last 5 drafts of it was David Hamilton, and or he goes by DC Hamilton, I think, professionally now. Anyway, they created this role of Jerry for me. He's a mid-40s guy going through his midlife crisis, which I have been and done. So I related to him really well. And they wrote him specifically for me with some comedic quirks and a lot of heartfelt drama. And it's one of those indie films that's just as charming as can be. The role of Jerry still charms me to this day. I don't think I'm the best actor in the world, honestly. When people compliment my acting, I take it graciously, but I think they're wrong. I think they're mistaken. So, but I can watch Jerry again and again for some reason, even though it's I'm sure there are other performances out there much better by other actors, but Jerry charms me, and he charmed me while I was playing him, and he charms me while I'm watching him. And what was equally special about this movie for me was that they to get this independent films have their biggest challenge, of course, is raising money.
Sure.
So Morgan Mead, being based in Indiana, he went to the Indiana Film Commission and said, what resources do you have? How can you help me? I've tried, hitting up, donors and angel donors and whatnot, and people just don't understand that I want to make a movie and what the benefit of that could ever be. So they said, the Indiana Film Commission said, you come from Ball State University, it says here. Your lead actor, it looks like he's also from Ball State University. Why don't you go back to Ball State University and propose to them? They have a really progressive media department that's including film, television, radio, and their theater department, and they also have a great new media department that was creating content for the web. And so they got the point person there to do a pitch with him. He then passed that pitch up to the president of the university, who said, and bless her heart, she said, well, wait, so Doug Jones wants to come back and do this here in Muncie and film? And they were like, yes, yes, yes. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. So that's when she said, let's do it then. So
that's awesome.
they financed the film, which was a kind of a cutting edge thing that hadn't been done before, where a university financed a film that was a learning. It was a what they call an immersive learning program. So the staff, the crew, was all crewed up and personneled by students that were current students getting credit for
Oh, cool.
class credit for what they were doing on our set.
Awesome.
All the department heads came from Hollywood. That would be the head of the camera, the sound, the any visual effects we might have had or needed cleanup, and color timing and editing and all that. All that came from outside. So it was a true mesh of Hollywood meets university in Indiana. So it was not a student film. It was a viable, a commercially viable product being made by a university. So it hadn't been done before. So we were written up in a lot of university journals over this. So now you can. We played on Netflix for quite a while. I think they finally might have taken that down. You can still find it on Hulu. If you look for My Name Is Jerry on Hulu, you'll find it there. On the free version of Hulu, you might have to watch some commercials, but it's there. And you can also look at Amazon and find the DVD.
Excellent. Well, I know what we're going to be doing. Well, not tonight, but this weekend. We've
Little
got
viewing party.
This weekend is Chicago Wizard World, and our group is hosting a couple of parties there this weekend. You're not coming into Chicago, are you?
No, I was in Chicago. I've done the Wizard World circuit many a time. And the last time I did Chicago Wizard World was right before I started filming season 3 of Falling Skies. So it would have been August of 2012. So it's been a couple years. They usually wait a few years between my visits because they don't want to tire my name out in any one city.
Sure.
So
next time we have a party, we're going to invite you because we would love to have you come and join us.
I will come. I will pet your faces and hug on y'all.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Suddenly, we need to have another party. I'm such a huge fan. You can pet my face.
Doug, just a couple more things before we're going to say goodbye for now, but I wanted to ask you, when does filming start for season 5?
Yes, very soon. Right after season 4 concludes on your television. I think we're doing we have another 1-hour episode coming up this coming Sunday night, August, what is that going to be, 24th?
24th.
And then the next Sunday, the August 31st, will be our 2-hour season finale.
Oh boy.
So you'll be looking forward to that. And then the very next week, September 7th, I'm going to pack up my Mustang and drive on up to Vancouver, where I will be living and working on season 5. Cameras roll September 15th, all the way into January.
Whoa.
Wow.
It's going to get cold up there.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, well it always is. I mean, but the thing is, if you're going to do Canada in the winter, the West Coast where Vancouver is the perfect place to be. It's wet. It's usually wet. It rains a lot, but it's much warmer and more better climate than Toronto, for instance. So we don't have the blizzards and the sub-zero cold there.
Push back that weather.
Yeah, pretty much. I wanted to ask, when you watch the episodes, are you just kind of just by yourself on your own enjoying it, or maybe with your family, or do you have like Falling Skies parties where you invite family and friends and it's like a big viewing? How does that work?
Yeah, do you know what? Usually, because my life here during the summer here, since I'm, now that I'm back in LA between seasons of Falling Skies, everybody that I've been pushing off like during this filming year is like, oh, you're home now. Oh, can you come to our event? Can you do our short film? Can you do our web series? Can you do our feature? Can you do our can you guest judge on the thing and the hi? Yeah,
Right.
So it's been a spring and summer full of that. So if I get home Sunday night in time by 10. Mrs. Lori and I turn on the TV and watch it, just the two of us. It's a very quiet way to do it because I've had a very loud and full summer.
Excellent.
Sure.
Now wait, Frank, before you ask your last question there, I got 2 quick things.
Okay.
One thing is, Frank and I have made no bones about it. We're Christian. And I was reading on your thing that you're very active with your church choir, that you sing.
Yes.
I'm not going to put you on the spot. I know you're got a little cold going on, but I just wanted to point out that you do sing in the church choir and that you would love to put out an album. It says, do you write music, or is this, you just want to put something out where you're singing?
Oh, I would love to put something out where I'm singing. I think what I would love is, I've been taught. Oh gosh, this is another one of those bucket list things.
Yeah.
I would love to do it. Taking the time to write is I'm not a writer, so I've written a couple of ditties over the years that I think are kind of cute, but I don't know if a professional music producer would probably look at it and go, okay, that was written by an 8th grader. So I don't know. Lyrics, maybe if somebody can put music to them, might be the way to go for me. But so maybe a couple of those. I'd love to do a CD with a couple of those on them. But I would also love to include some lullabies and
Oh, cool.
and some old school gospel music, like the Old Rugged Cross and In the Garden and those kind of old school hymns that come from way back that you can maybe update and put a little groove into. That's more my style.
Well, I think there's a huge market for that, and I think you would be prime for that. So who knows? Maybe in a couple of years we'll be seeing Doug Jones touring the church circuit, singing his album.
That'd be fantastic.
I would love that. I mean, if I yes, if I could, if I could do the Whitney Houston thing where she was in the Bodyguards, she did that Jesus Loves Me a bit. That was a great mix of putting an another old school lullaby hymn that we all know into a mainstream movie.
Right.
I love it when something like that's done. And
Very cool.
And I can tell you that yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible, it tells me so.
Get a little organ music going here.
Yeah.
The best you're going to get from this cold boy.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Very
Cool.
good.
I did want to ask about that, and then I'm going to ask, and you're going to say there's no comment, but has there been any movement on Hellboy 3?
Oh, well, I don't want to leave you with a no comment, but I can tell you with a no information.
I kind of figured there is no information.
Yeah, I'm the guy that I don't have any authority to talk. I can give you my opinions, but I'm not the authority.
How about an opinion? Let's get a little opinion.
Well, my opinion is that, golly, shoot, Ron Perlman, Selma Blair, and I, Jeffrey Tambor, we would all love to come back and finish the part 3 for you all, because we did leave you hanging. Guillermo del Toro has said he would love to do it. But I think it's been a matter of budget and wanting to up the budget a bit, and so it's been a how do you negotiate that with the studio, and I think that's what's been taking some time.
Right.
That's my opinion. I'm not an authoritative voice. It's been enough years now that it's do we hold our breath or don't we? So I'm not. And Guillermo del Toro, I don't know that they would make a Hellboy 3 with any other director than him.
No, I don't want him to. I want him to do exactly what they've done.
Right. And his plate is so incredibly full. He's the most multitasking director I've ever worked with in my life. And he's also producing so many other projects and writing things. I mean, he's stirring several pots at once, always. So he has more on his calendar. He hasn't productions on his calendar that go way past his death.
Sure.
So I'm not sure I was going to fit them all in.
Right.
Yeah. So Hellboy 3, golly, shoot, I hope it's one of them. I really do. Because Abe Sapien, of all my costume characters I've played, and as much as I love my Cochise, and I've fallen madly in love with Cochise on Falling Skies, I think Abe Sapien still is the one that I connect with the most of all the characters I've ever played.
I find him to be amazing. I think her performance as Abe Sapien is, and once again, we talk about Andy Serkis, and everyone talks Oscar because of the Planet of the Apes and everything.
Sure. Yeah,
Abe Sapien is the one that I always go, it's just as good. It was an amazing performance both times.
Oh gosh,
absolutely amazing. So,
very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Let's get that third movie and let's guarantee an Oscar. That's what I'm saying.
Come on now.
Nice. Well, you did want to ask what you are working on that we can expect to see you in coming up in the near future.
Right. Well, speaking of Guillermo del Toro, he's put me to work again. He has a TV series he's executive producing, and he also directed the pilot episode, and that would be The Strain on the FX channel.
Oh, yes. We have a podcast about that.
Well, of course you do. Well, I will be showing up in the season finale, which I think is also August 31st, in a competing time zone with Falling Skies. It'll be at 10 o'clock Sunday night, August 31st. I think, if I'm doing the math right, I think it's an 8-episode season. I wasn't tracking with it as much as I should have. But I make a cameo guest appearance in the season finale of The Strain. That it's a heavily made up character. I'm wearing something that makes me look not like me.
Okay.
And it's a character that when you see me, you'll go, oh, and you'll say to yourself, we'll be seeing more of him in the future. Okay.
Excellent.
So that'll leave you hanging with that. and with the question about whether I get to play that character in the future or not depends on if the schedule will work out with the season 5 of Falling Skies that I'll be shooting now from September to January. So we'll see what happens. The other Del Toro project I just finished in May was Crimson Peak. His feature film about it's a haunted house story.
I can't wait.
Yes, he's such a classic filmmaker. He creates modern classics every time he puts his thumbprint on a camera. But so this is going to be very much one of those. You haven't seen a movie like this of his before. It's set in Victorian England. And the lead actress is Mia Wasikowska, who was Alice in Wonderland, and you're following her journey through marriage and betrayal and whatever this house brings to her when she moves in. And that would be also starring Tom Hiddleston, who was Loki from Thor.
Yeah, nobody's heard of him, right?
Right. And Jessica Chastain, who is like a chameleon of an actress and wonderful. Oh, so wonderful. You know her from The Help and from Mama.
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
She's wonderful. And also, Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy and Pacific Rim.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, what a cast.
Amazing cast. And so when I told Guillermo del Toro, I'm going to be doing a lot of press for Falling Skies this summer. What can I tell people when they ask about Crimson Peak? What can I tell them that I did in it? Because it's kind of he doesn't want to really let the cat out of the bag just yet about what I did or what I look like or what the storyline behind my characters are. I played a couple characters in the film. Along with Javier Botet. Javier Botet was the tall, very skinny. He's like 6'5" and even thinner than I am. He played the Mama ghost in Mama.
Oh boy!
So they brought him in also. So the two of us played a total of 5 characters between the two of us.
Wow!
In Crimson Peak. So when I ask Guillermo, what can I tell people about what I do in the movie? He says, "Well, dog, tell them it's a haunted house story, and what the f do they think you play?"
Well, that's the definitive word on it.
That was a good voice.
No, thank you. So that would be. That's all I can tell you for now about Crimson Peak. Other than that, I've done, like I say, spring and summer. I've done web series called Nobility, web series called Hell's Kitty, web series called I Hate It, feature films.
Now, when you do these web series, how are you ending up in those? Because you were in number one, The Guild, which I loved.
I was, and I loved it. Also through Twitter. Thank you.
Oh, really? Okay, Fallout, Nuka Break. Nuka Break,
yes.
Really cool. And I don't know if you're proud of this, Retarded Policeman.
Oh, I love
your mime thing in that is the funniest thing.
That was the funniest thing I've ever done in film. Oh my God.
That is everybody should watch this thing. Now, when I went to your site, the link doesn't work.
Oh, it might be. Oh, you know what? It was. My site needs some up vamping.
I just wanted people to know so they don't go there and go, "Oh, I can't see it."
Yeah,
just type it in Google. You can get it on YouTube and see it.
But, the best thing to do would be go to YouTube and type in "retarded policeman mime" MIME, and you'll find
it's the funniest thing.
It's not right.
It's amazing though.
But I usually get into web series because they're friends of mine, or I've been approached by somebody, and it's a character that I haven't been able to play in mainstream media. So they've. Retarded Policeman, the main character in that is played by my Down syndrome friend Josh Perry. It's his big brother that I met first, Scott Perry, okay. And they had their own YouTube channel for a long time. And
the show was excellent. I mean, it was such a good show.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
And so Scott directed a few episodes and wrote many of them, and so he and his little brother Josh, who stars as the retarded policeman, he's totally in on the joke. It is not abuse of a Down syndrome kid. He's the smartest young man I've ever known in my life, and he's the most affectionate and pure of heart human being I've ever known. So he's very much in on the making of the show.
Oh, I'm sure.
When I saw the first few episodes, I told my friend Scott, I said, "You've got to get me, write something for me. I have to get on this show." So that's how the Retarded Policeman came about. So once you see it, you'll know how he wrote it specifically for me.
Well, yeah, because you have a background in mime. My God, it's the funniest mime thing. I'm telling you,
Thank you.
everybody needs to watch this.
I'm gonna have to see this now because I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, it's so
I'm gonna
worth
look
it,
this up.
Frank.
Doug, we wanted to give you a chance to let everyone know where they can find you on social media or any other web locations that you may want to direct people to. We mentioned a couple of them, but Facebook, Twitter, what do you want to talk about here?
I'm present in all of them. The only thing I don't do is Snapchat and Kick. That's for the kids. You can find me on Facebook. If you do a Doug Jones search on Facebook, I'm the one with the blue verified badge. That's my fan page. I would love to add people on my personal page, but I'm at the 5,000 friend limit. I can't add anybody else. So, but if you want to do a search in all the social medias, if you do actor Doug Jones, all run together, no punctuation. If you do that in the search bar on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, you'll find my pages. Actor Doug Jones.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, we will definitely do that. In fact, we have presence everywhere also. And like with Tumblr, we will start reblogging you and follow you. I didn't know you were on there. So
Yeah, that's where the kids are.
Very good. And just one more question before we let you go. Favorite Cochise moment on Falling Skies?
Oh golly. So far, I would say it would be back in season 3 when the explosion went off and killed all of my comrades, and I was the only Volm left before the mothership landed and brought the rest of our people at the end of the season. Remember that explosion that happened? And I was on a gurney about to die, but I think I was giving up.
There were a few times where it felt like you were about to die.
All right.
And you do that reconstruction business.
It's happened twice now, yes. Once again here in season 4. But the first time you saw that on film was this scene I'm talking about. And Noah Wiley, as Tom Mason, is holding my hand and walking along with the gurney, and he's encouraging me to hang on, and he's throwing back a lot of the life coaching I've given him over the season back in my face and saying, "Didn't you say this? And isn't it worth this and that?" And so that's when I say to him, I look at him with my beat up, bloody face, and I say, "The human condition remains the most powerful weapon on this planet." And that's when I decide I will live. You've given me something to live for again. And then I tell him, "You don't need to do anything more." I would tell that to Seychelles, Lourdes, because she's wondering what to do as a doctor to fix me. And I said, "I'll regenerate in a few hours and just leave me be quietly." And so I thought that was a very nice turning of events where, I've been here to support the humans, and now I found some strength by that human spirit that I've fallen in love with.
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
One that stands out to me, and it's not nearly as emotionally compelling, but I really loved it, was more kind of an Easter egg back in that episode where Tom is kind of in that virtual reality and
dream sequence, yes.
And he's going around seeing these different people. And I remember telling Rob here, "Hey, did you catch Doug Jones in there?" And he's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, he was in there. He was Professor C.
Yeah, I didn't catch it that time. As big a fan as I am.
That's all. Thank you. Well, yeah, that was so much fun. We filmed that it was called Strange Brew? I think that was the name of the episode.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
That was I think in the 10 episode season 3. It was episode number 8, I think. And so we saved it for the very last episode that we shot because Noah had to shave his beard off. Mm-hmm. And so he had to get all the bearded stuff shot for the season and then go back and shave and then do the clean shaven thing. So we got all of his bearded stuff for episode 8 was done first, and then we shot his non-bearded stuff at very last thing of the season. So that was my last day on season 3, was doing that scene in the faculty lounge of the Unity. And so they come in, and there's Marina, who was played by Gloria Rubin, and I were his fellow professors, and so only people who really caught on, because again the voice wasn't treated, so I didn't sound exactly like Cochise right then, but that was kind of, you're right, it was an Easter egg that they wrote in specifically and purposefully so that anybody who knows me and could marry my face up with Cochise would be like, aha, that's him. So it was a great way to bring Cochise into his dreamland, like he did everybody else.
Right.
In the story. So yeah, it was great fun for me, and a great comfortable way to end the season, wearing nothing but a sport jacket and having my hair done.
Right. A little easier getting ready for that day.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't have to put on that makeup just to for one episode just to say, it's Tom Mason's son.
Like, oh no, right, exactly. How's that for a cameo?
Yeah, right.
I was like, he had to do all that just for that one line. Come on now.
That was the easiest week I've had in my life. I
Wow.
got shortest day ever. I walked in, I stood there. We did a couple takes of "Son of Tom Mason," and you're wrapped. That's a wrap on Doug Jones. Woo-hoo.
All right, Doug, thanks a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
7 hours of getting the makeup off.
Go back
now.
to your
Have fun.
trailer.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, Doug, I'm sure we could keep on going all day, but we've already taken more of your time than we meant to, and we thank you for this time you've given us, even on a day when you've had a cold. Really, really appreciate it. We're big fans of yours. Can't wait to see how the season's going to end up and what's in store for next season. Hopefully, we'll get you to come back sometime next year.
Do you know what? Next year, let's do this again. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Oh, we would love it. And you know what? We're gonna as soon as Hellboy 3 gets pulled, we will give you a call, and we're going to talk to you then too.
Yes, please do.
Let's all just keep putting the good vibes towards Hellboy 3. 'Cause I want you to get that Oscar for it.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. I just like to be nominated. I don't. I like to present one. That's all.
I'm sure it's in the works. Doug,
I'm
thanks
sure.
so much for your time, and you take care of that cold. Get better soon, okay?
I promise. Thank you so much, you guys. It's so lovely to meet you, Rob and Frank, and let's do this again.
Oh, we'd love
Absolutely.
to. Thank you so much, Doug.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now. And thanks so much for listening to the podcast, a special edition of the Second Mass Report. And don't forget that you can find our pages and Twitters online. We are on Facebook, Second Mass Report, the Falling Skies podcast. You can also send us emails at secondmassreport@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at Second Mass Pod. And we're looking forward to the final 3 episodes of Falling Skies Season 4. So it's been a wild ride so far, and I'm looking forward to finishing this out with you and looking forward to Season 5. Any last words, Rob?
You know what? I want you to
Final
give the
comments,
last
not
words,
last-
and we're out of
not
there.
last words, just
No,
final
this was
comments.
just spectacular. I'm just all a Twitter here. So go ahead and end us out there, Frank.
All right. The Second Mass Report Falling Skies podcast is a production of the Southgate Media Group, and until next time we speak, stay vigilant, stay active, and stay brave.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.